we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your favorite wrestling fan here, Eric Rodriguez, every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time here to talk about the greatest thing in the world, professional wrestling, all the action inside and outside the ring, backstage curtain calls, all the rumors, all the drama. We talk about inactive statuses, injury updates. We talk about superstar contract negotiations, extensions, and new signings. We talk about promotions from AEW to WWE to Ring of Honor to New Japan Professional Wrestling. If it makes major news in the world of professional wrestling, we talk about it here on this show 1010%. So make sure you guys Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show so you guys can get some notifications when we go live. Also upload awesome breathtaking videos. Make sure you guys check those out as well. All right, so let's go to talk about some of the best non-sanctioned matches in professional wrestling. Obviously, when it comes to some things, some of the lists I talk about, 1010%. It's all like, it's all opinionated and stuff like that. But these are some of the ones that I watched and I thought that was pretty badass. We have Seth Rollins taking on Triple H, WrestleMania 34. It seems like non-sanctioned matches are mostly like, someone's not medically clear, but they want retribution and they want to avenge, or they want to, they want revenge. And then, they end up getting, their injury ends up getting targeted inside the match. Looks like they're going to lose, but at the end of the day, they end up winning. Much like you've seen this match with Seth Rollins and Triple H. This honestly made Seth Rollins into a main eventer. I believe that 1010%. No Shield, no more authority. Seth Rollins has always kind of been like a group kind of guy. And this was kind of like his coming out party. WrestleMania 34, one of the biggest WrestleManias, in history. And it was cool. It was great. It was about time that Seth Rollins kind of achieved himself as like a solid main eventer, as the architect, as the, he wasn't the visionary back then, but, it would then propel him to like become the guy he is now. Like, he's a main eventer. Think about Seth Rollins, you automatically think of WWE championships. You think of Intercontinental, maybe United States, but more or less, Universal Champion, WWE Champion. You think of, World Heavyweight Champion. I feel like Seth Rollins, he accomplished it all. And this match definitely did help in establishing him as his, as a solo act. Next, we have Drake Maverick taking on Mike Bennett in 205 Live. Drake Maverick was actually an authority figure in 205 Live. A lot of people think it was a dead show, but I love 205 Live. One of my favorite shows ever on the WWE Network. I remember when all that, I think they still are on that. Well, not 205 Live, obviously, but, I remember you would just, I would get lost in the WWE Network. I would. There was Camp WWE. There was this kind of like story time. I remember that. There was Swerve. No, yeah, I think there was Swerve when they were like driving and talking about stories and stuff like that. There was 205 Live. There was NXT. There was Main Event. There was, I used to just get lost in WWE. I used to watch everything and anything. And it was, it was cool. It was a nice little time in my life. I was becoming a wrestling fan again back in 2016. And I was just obsessed once again. I was like, man, why did I stop watching this? But, some of the storylines and stuff like that back in the day, I was like, ugh. I remember watching Rusev and, Lana and Bobby Lashley making out, and I was like, what the hell's going on? What is this? What is it? I'm just kidding. No, but it's wrestling, guys. It's wrestling. But the more and more I feel like Triple H kind of stepped in, and the more and more it felt like Vince McMahon wasn't taking over. There's still be some times when I would be watching the PLEs with my wife, and we'd kind of look at what happened, and we're like, oh, that was a Vince McMahon decision. Oh no, that was Triple H. You know what I mean? And it's just, I don't know, I thought it was kind of funny. But, overall, great match. A lot of people kind of did not see cruiserweights go at it, but I thought this was a nice little not your average cruiserweight match. So I thought that was cool. Next, we have a non-sanctioned match with Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole. Obviously, Cole betrayed the Undisputed Era. This was a nice rivalry. Back in Ring of Honor, also the PWG. Kyle O'Reilly was definitely put over in this match, which was great. I do feel like this was one of the storylines, the reason why Adam Cole kind of called it quits in WWE, because they had so much momentum in the Undisputed Era. I loved the Undisputed Era. I thought they were going to make it onto the main roster and do some damage, do some heavy stuff. only for them to kind of just dip out. I feel like once when a lot of WWE stars were starting to wind up on All Elite Wrestling, I felt like this. I knew I was gonna see Adam Cole one day on there. I knew it. I was like, you know what? I don't like this storyline. How he betrayed Kyle O'Reilly and then betrayed all of his foes and stuff, like all of his friends. And it just didn't really seem like it was working, and I hated it. And once when they wanted to make Kyle O'Reilly into a single star as well, they were like, "Oh, let's just have Adam Cole like get jealous," and it was just like I don't know. It wasn't really the ideal kind of storyline that I would have developed myself if I was like a WWE writer. But he's there, he's doing good in AEW. So especially Kyle O'Reilly, I love seeing Kyle O'Reilly on AEW. Next, we have Johnny Gargano going up against Tommaso Ciampa when they broke up. Once when Tommaso Ciampa came back kind of from an injury. This was at NXT TakeOver New Orleans. I like when these guys, like I mentioned before, when it comes to like a feud or a rivalry, the best person to work with is like your best friend because you have chemistry, you can trust each other, to take the bumps, the hits, make it look real. And, this was a nice little 40-minute bout. This was a, pretty good non-sanctioned match. I definitely, I was kind of reluctant on DIY breaking up, but they had a nice little feud, had a great match to sum it all up. I remember they actually tore out the ring mat, and there was, like, wood, and I think he hit, like, a powerbomb or something on there, and everybody was like, no way, this is... But, it was good. It was good. It was a nice way to kind of cap off a nice little bloodthirsty rivalry between Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. Next, we have Jon Moxley taking on Kenny Omega, AEW Full Gear 2019. In AEW, they call it a lights out match, not like a non-sanctioned match. This was Moxley's basically his debut in AEW, bringing this different kind of hardcore style that he yearned for in WWE. And, he made it to All Elite Wrestling, and he did great. And this win was like a huge momentum builder. This set Moxley up on a wave of, momentum and success. He later actually defeated Chris Jericho for the AEW World Championship. But I believe, a lot of it did kind of start during this match when Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley both pushed each other to the absolute limit. Jon Moxley, he was an established guy in WWE, Dean Ambrose. But he was never really like this, like the main event kind of like guy. Like he was never really like the face of a company. So once when he came to AEW, they were kind of like, all right, it seems kind of messed up. And it was like, all right, are you still a WWE superstar or are you ready to become All Elite? You know what I mean? And he did great. He did great, especially with going into Moxley's world where he was this unhinged badass. His singles role, as Dean Ambrose, as the moral compass in WWE wasn't really the best. But, he would always be like he's a crazy lunatic fringe kind of guy. And it was really unleashed as soon as he signed with All Elite Wrestling in this match with Kenny Omega at AEW Full Gear 2019. Non-sanctioned or lights out was a banger. So I thought that was pretty cool. Next, we have Thunder Rosa taking on Britt Baker, AEW Dynamite. Both of these women, obviously, this prepared them for success. They're already successful. A nice little bloody brawl here. A lot of people don't see women in that kind of, kind of seeing that notion in terms of bleeding. But All Elite Wrestling, they were willing to kind of push the envelope a little bit here. And obviously during that time, Thunder Rosa, huge babyface. Britt Baker was kind of. I actually think I've read an article saying that these girls actually do kind of have beef, like actual beef. But, it is what it is. It's, a lot of egos, a lot of animosity inside the ring. So, I do, I like Britt Baker, DMD. I also did like Thunder Rosa as well. I think both of these girls during this match accomplished what they set to do. They meant that, okay, we are the pillars in the women's division in AEW, and they were. And they would go on to do great things, and I feel like both of them still can do great things. Britt Baker, I feel like she would be an amazing TBS champion. Maybe she's the next one to kind of get her hands on Toni Storm. We're still waiting for Thunder Rosa to come back, which I feel like she's back, but then again, like, I don't really see her on Dynamite. I don't really see her in, I want to see her in a main event picture because I feel like that's ultimately where she belongs. But anyways, this match was super cool. It was nice. and for the women to kind of go out there and leave it all out in the ring was pretty badass. Next, we have a little preview to what maybe the lights out match during Elimination Chamber is going to look like. We have El Generico taking on Kevin Steen. Ring of Honor Final Battle 2010. El Generico was Sami Zayn. Also, Kevin Steen is Kevin Owens. This was another saga for the Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. It was a violent masterpiece. One of the all-time greatest Ring of Honor matches of all time. They actually had a little bit of a hidden stipulation with El Generico's mask. Also, Kevin Steen leaving the company if he would lose. Obviously, Generico did get the victory, and it was a nice match. Maybe since he let Sami get the first one, maybe we're gonna see Kevin Owens get the second one here. Best friends going at it, kicking each other's asses. There's nothing better than that. So I'm looking forward to this match at the Elimination Chamber. It was kind of funny how this popped up on the list, and these guys are going to be the whole reason why I thought about this list was because of what happened on WWE Raw with Sami Zayn kind of taking a non-sanctioned match with Kevin Owens at Elimination Chamber. So I thought that was pretty badass. But let's go ahead and end this list on one of the most biased picks. My two favorite wrestlers in the world. I believe the greatest non-sanctioned match was the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels coming back from a 4-year hiatus, breaking his back with that casket match in The Undertaker. I didn't think it was going to come back. I remember I was watching wrestling and I was like, okay, Shawn Michaels. Yeah, I remember him a little bit. He was cool. He was a badass. And then he comes back. His friend Triple H, he wants to, wide open arms, buddy, welcome back to professional wrestling. But when Shawn Michaels came back, Triple H was he was a whole different person. He was the face of the company. He did not want anybody to get success other than himself. Obviously, kayfabe storyline. He was very adamant on being just it. WWE champion, Triple H, that's it. No runners up, no people who can contend for my title. No one could really handle my stuff. I am the game, and you don't want to play me. You know what I mean? Game over. Pedigree. Bam. Da-da-da. Da-da-da. I'm just kidding. Two of my favorite wrestlers had an amazing match at SummerSlam. Super badass. Shawn Michaels obviously prevailing. Showing the world that he has not lost a step. This was an important match for Shawn. Definitely. Coming back from a horrific back injury, I think they slipped the disc or something like that, and being told that you're never going to wrestle again, or you can never get up from out of bed and be the same, and one small little move, guess what? You're going back to the hospital, and you may or may not be paralyzed. You may or may not end up paraplegic. It was dicey. It was a ballsy move from Shawn. But, you have a huge liking, you have a huge passion for something like professional wrestling, and coming back, working with your best friend like Triple H. And, you could see it inside the ring that these guys have amazing chemistry. That's not really anything that could be, it's not something that could be swept under the rug or anything that's really hidden. But, both of these guys at the top of their game. Triple H was at the top. Shawn Michaels was showing that he could still be that Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels. And this whole storyline thing was, it was crazy. I remember, on SmackDown when they were trying to decipher who attacked Shawn Michaels, and they had the distorted figure, and then they enhanced the picture, and then they enhanced the picture, and then the guy was it had a Triple H shirt, and he had a sledgehammer, and then that was what the hell, Hunter? It was you, and then all of a sudden Triple H, and then they start battling out. It was it's pretty damn entertaining. It was definitely back in that day. I was a huge wrestling fan. I've been a wrestling fan my whole life, but this match, I remember watching this match, and it was pretty damn sick. It was pretty awesome. All right, hope you guys enjoyed the show. Hope you guys had a great time. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope you guys are preparing to have a nice, smooth, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Make sure you guys check back. Check on the YouTube page. I'm going to be, uploading some videos throughout the week. So, don't miss me too much. I'm just kidding. Thank you so much for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Remember to follow us on Twitter/X, TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook for more content and updates. And if I haven't made you a wrestling fan by now, make sure you guys check out all the amazing podcasts we have here on this network. We definitely love entertaining you guys. Stay beautiful, but most importantly, have a beautiful week and love you.